Let's flip through the finished pages in my Hobonichi cousin for the month of June 2025. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori, and today we are going to flip through my Hobonichi for the month of June. I added a couple of new stickers to the front page here. I think all three of these I added in the month of June, and I will probably continue to do this as the year progresses, especially those that I'm making as like freebies for my shop. I really like the way that these all look. This was a sticker that my husband got in an order. I might have had this here last month actually. I'm not 100% sure, I don't remember. But flipping right in, we are now in July. It is July 7th. So I have pretty much finished what I'm going to finish for the month of June. I've got all of my health and hobby trackers filled out with the exception, I think, of 2 days I didn't fill anything out in. So I did pretty well for this month. And I'm really liking that as the months progress, you can see more and more actually filled out on this page. For my monthly calendar, I believe I filled everything out but 3 days. So I put X's on these 2 days, and I think I just put a random sticker on this day because I didn't have anything here, and maybe this day as well. So 4 days I think I didn't actually put anything on with the intention of a sticker or something that happened during that month. But for the most part, I think it looks really good. This was week in the life, and this was actually a doodle here of a dragonfly picture that I took, and I am quite pleased with how it came out. I'm pretty proud of myself for how well I doodled that. Flipping into my weeklies, I didn't do anything for June 1st, it looks like, on my weeklies, so we will go to the following week. This is the first month that I have actually decided to do an individual theme per week. So the previous months I have tried to incorporate the same theme that I was using for like my monthly setup that I did for the month in my Hobonichi, but I decided that I wanted to try doing it this way to actually use up some of my supplies and be able to use more of them as well. So I started using some different tapes, and then I also added a habit tracker. I believe that this was the first week that I'd done a habit tracker. So I added a habit tracker for teeth care, my long-acting insulin, and reading. And this is a little bit repetitive to the beginning of my journal because I do have reading on here and my Lantus as well. But honestly, having those in multiple places is not a bad thing for me in particular, because I do like to try and mark it this like when I start doing it so I don't forget about it. And it basically increases the chances that I'll actually mark it down, as opposed to me completely just forgetting and then not remembering if I did the thing. It basically lessens the chance that I'll forget about it. I don't think I really did anything too noteworthy on this week. This was week in the life as well, so I wasn't really spending a lot of time in the weekly section of my Hobonichi because I was carrying my iPad around and doing timeline journaling for each day. So that is probably why this looks so bare, actually. For the following week, I used the subscription that came for June, I think, from the Coffee Monsters Co. And I love the way that this week turned out. I used some of the washi tapes, and then I just doodled some like vine type leaves. I did habits again over here. I've really been liking doing that, so that will probably continue for the foreseeable future until I forget that I like doing it, potentially. I also did choose a specific Tombow color this week that you can see kind of plopped right around my spread. So if I had anything that I wanted to specifically note for that specific day, I was coloring it with the Tombow, just like a little square or a little circle, and then writing on it with my Tombow Fudonosuke brush pen, the hard tip. This day right here with the Just Nope sticker was the day that I believe I filmed a journaling vlog where I kind of shared how I go about making my stickers from the stamps that I've created. I was having a really, really bad week the following week. I didn't even touch this journal for about 3 to 4 days, I think. I was just, the whole week was bad, but I ended up coming in on Thursday. And instead of trying to back journal and memory keep for these particular days, I just did some big bubble letters that says we don't know these days. And then I didn't start tracking any hobbies or habits or health things until Thursday. So I just started at Thursday there. I did use this really, really pretty washi tape. I don't remember the name of what this washi tape is, but I love it so much. And then because everything was so chaotic, we actually ended up doing my hair this weekend, me and my friend, and we also dyed my kids' hairs with some semi-permanent hair dye for summer. My daughter got some purple, like strips, and then my son has like a cyan teal situation happening, and they both absolutely loved it. So there was a lot going on this week, but nothing good for the most part. There was a couple of good things, of course, but not a lot of good that overwhelmed as the bad stuff that was happening. So the following week, I do have a setup video for this one, I think, on my channel. So this is what the finished week looked like. This was all from the Archer and Olive subscription box for the month of June. So I used a lot of the washi and the clear stickers that were included in that box. I wrote down here that I was going to use the pen that I had inked with Gossiping Grapevine, but I don't think I used that a single time on this page, actually. So there's that. For Tuesday, I just have a big entry right here that says I don't remember anything that happened. Like, I apparently blocked that day out. So I'm not sure what happened there. I had quite a few Etsy orders to pack this week. So I think 27 total that I managed to track in my journal. So that's awesome. And then I had some low sugar episodes, some more pretty bad days. June was just not my month, y'all. Like, I'm glad that June is over, to say the least. Let's see. This is this past week. So today's the 7th. So this is today right here. So this is the week that just happened. Thankfully, there was only one day of June on this week, and for the most part, everything else was pretty good. I didn't have too bad of a week. We took a trip to Georgia. This is all July stuff, though, so we'll probably go over that a little bit more in the July flip through, but this is what this whole week ended up looking like. And I'm quite pleased with this whole spread, even though it's very pink, and I'm much more of a not super bright colored person. I am pretty happy with the way that it turned out, and I'm hoping that continuing doing these types of setups for my weeklies will help me use up those supplies that are fairly colorful, because I've got a lot of them, and I'm not drawn to those as much as I am like my browns and taupes and neutral situations for the colors that I have. For my daily pages, I did add a couple, I think probably about 15 different June prompts. This came from Journal Away. I got them from her website. They're a freebie on her website. I think I have this linked in my June setup as well. The 1st of June was a really good day because I did go to a watercolor class this day, and I used some of the newest stickers that I created for myself, which I loved. And I just had a lot of fun doing this watercolor class. And I think I did more watercolor. I don't think that I actually put a picture of it in here, but I ended up using one of these books that I got from the watercolor class to do additional watercoloring during the second week of June, I believe, or I think that started on the 2nd. So during this week, the second week of June, I guess, since this was a Sunday. I loved it. I loved this page. I loved this day. It was a good day. June 2nd started Week in the Life, so I just wrote a little bit about Week in the Life starting. And then the second day of Week in the Life, June 3rd, I had like a really, really bad low sugar episode. One that I haven't had to that extent in a really, really long time. So I was just writing about how diabetes sucks for the 3rd of June. Wednesday, the 4th, I started reading Fragile Facade by Nordica Knight, which was the second book in the Vile House series, and I loved it. So this whole section over here is about just basically me reading that book. And then I was writing a little bit about how I've really been wanting to use the Diatramentis Document Black ink, but it was clogging the pen that I had it in, so I moved it to a new pen, and it is, because it's still in that pen, working so much better in that pen that I have it in now. The 5th, apparently I slept a lot. I probably got home from work and immediately went to sleep. Again, I mentioned in my weeklies, it was not a good month for my work life as well. So when stuff like that happens, I tend to sleep a lot more. Friday the 6th was a good day. And I really, really love the way that this page looks. I'm quite pleased with it. Let's see. I took a gift in for one of my friends, and she in turn actually had brought me breakfast. So it was like a nice, happy little gifting accident, I guess you could say. And it was just a good day. And then I believe that I got a new plant, and that's why I drew Monstera leaves all over this, because I believe that I went to a local pop-up event at a park a few miles away from where I work. Yep, right there. And I got a new leaf, and this was my attempt to draw that Monstera from a picture that I took on my phone. And I'm really happy with that doodle. The following day, I also really like Saturday the 7th. I love this book washi tape. And then I also took the washi tape stickers that go on like the circle part of it. And I took those off of each of the washi tapes that I had delivered this day and just stuck them in my journal. And then I don't really know what I wrote about, but I started by calling my journal a bestie because honestly, it probably knows more about me than anybody. So I was like, it might as well be a bestie. But yeah, and then I ended this just talking about how badly my handwriting looks. I didn't do anything for the 8th. On the 9th, I feel like maybe I got this delivered on this day. Yes, I got my first subscription order from the Coffee Monsters Co. today. So good. And I just covered this whole page with washi. I thought that this ink that I had would match this red, but it definitely doesn't. But I still think it looks pretty decent. My husband and I cleaned up some of the garage and organized it a little bit so I could access more of my fabrics. I was binge watching Degrassi: The Next Generation. And I started reading Ink, Blood, Sister, Scribe, but I didn't get very far in it before my library hold expired. So you won't see that in my reading journal recap for the month of June. And I was still reading Great Expectations as well. On the 10th, I was writing a little bit about how burnt out I was feeling. I'm constantly doing too much all of the time, and I'm very much aware of that, but I can't stop. So I ultimately end up going through like very heavy phases of like extreme burnout because of it. And had that in the month of June as well. On the 11th, I woke up to car trouble. So that was fun. And then Roberto, my husband, told me that he got me a Switch, the new Switch, a couple of weeks before this, I think. Oh no, he bought it this day. He told me that he bought me the new Switch 2 this day, which doesn't really have a lot of games out just yet. So I'm hoping some more fun games come out for that. I also had a Sailor Pro Gear delivered that from Atlas Stationers. I peeled this off of the Atlas Stationers box. And I didn't realize, but this actually came with an ink as well. And this is the ink that I use to color in my BOA letters. I didn't put anything on the 12th. On the 13th, I just did a huge kind of bubble letter thing that says, I don't know what I'm doing. And this very much reflects back to how burnt out I was feeling. Because specifically, well, almost all of the time, but even more so when I'm feeling burnt out, I feel like I just have the most massive imposter syndrome. Like, what am I even doing with my life? That's how I was feeling this day. And I think that this one I did in a journaling vlog as well. I got a bunch of stamp samples in on the 14th. So this is the Prim Alpha that I got in. This was from the Stationery Love stamp set. And then this So Much Yum down here is actually from a stamp set that I'm hoping to have releasing in July. I don't remember what I called it though. The 15th was Father's Day. I also really, really love the way that this page looks. I did some more of those leaf doodles, a big Father's Day title, and then I actually answered a prompt that was for writing about a time that you laughed. And if I did any of these prompts at the beginning, I actually put the number next to them because I often go out of order when it comes to prompts because I am, I guess, a mood-based prompt journaler. I'm not really sure what you would call that. So if I chose something from this list, I basically just put the number that coordinated to where that prompt was on the list. I didn't do anything for these 2 days either. Again, not a very good month for me, so I just wrote a big and then in ellipses on this page. The 18th was a horrible, no good, very bad day, and then I have a little excerpt or note right here to see my complain journal because there was a lot of things that I can't share on the internet that happened this day. So I did, for the sake of my Hobonichi, decide that I was going to try and think of some good things that happened this day. So I said even bad days have some good things though, and I got to spend a large portion of the day with 2 to 3 of my fantastic team members. I had delicious food and then a potential new hire observed in our department, and I got it was like basically a unanimous yes from all of the team that they interacted with. So it was just a couple of small highlights for the day. And then 19th, I was just talking about how June sucks. And I'm just really unhappy with the car troubles, work dramas, basically anything that could go wrong, like low sugar episodes, just anything that could have gone wrong this month felt like it was going wrong. And as I was coloring in my June sucks title, my pen ran out of ink. So I felt like that just really just added the cherry on top of the page there. On the 20th, my big title is What Is Even Happening? This is another one that I'm referencing myself to go look at my complain journal if I want more tea or more details. And I was basically just chatting about how this day didn't go pretty much at all how I expected to. On the 21st was the Saturday that we had our new summer hair. I just had my hair like refreshed. My daughter had purple in her hair and my son had cyan. And honestly, like they look so cute. I was so happy with how their hair came out. I also inked up a new pen, so I noted that there. And this is a shimmer ink, which was really fun. I don't know if I'll be able to capture that on camera, but it was really pretty. And I'm still using the pen that has that ink in it as well. This was the same day that I filmed my weekly setup using this washi tape. So because I had already had it out, I just basically used it on this page as well. So this was Sunday the 22nd. I did another prompt-based journaling section over here, but I turned my page sideways. And this was prompt number 26. And it was actually about a celebrity crush as a teenager. And this is so funny because I recently had a conversation with my friend about how we were both like so obsessed with Chad Michael Murray when we were basically in our early teens, teenage years. And I recently started rewatching One Tree Hill. And the moment he came on the screen with his super blonde hair, I was just like, ew, like, ew. I am not a fan of the blonde hair anymore as much as I was when I was a teenager. And I texted her immediately and said that to her. And she was just like, oh my gosh, I felt exactly the same way. And I just thought that that was funny. So I basically wrote about that. I wrote about all of the filming that I had done this day and then some cleaning that I ended up doing. On the 23rd, I have a big title. I did my title a little bit differently on this day. I did basically, I don't know what this is called. I feel like I do this every time I do a video, but I turned my page and did it that way. It's going vertical, I guess, instead of horizontal. Yeah, I did. Yeah. But I basically just talked about some more things that I got done. So I had filmed 3 videos on the 22nd, and then I edited and uploaded 1 video, filmed another video, and then started filming my July bullet journal video, which actually took me 2 filming sessions to film. So these 2 days, and this was all after I got off of work, so basically late into the evening, late into the night for me to do this stuff. I guess I had a little bit of energy, even though I'm still feeling a little bit burnt out, and I took full advantage of that energy, which is probably why I'm still burnt out. I like this little good night down here. Tuesday, I think this is the same day that I wrote in my weeklies that I don't remember what happened, and I just wrote, I don't remember anything about this day aside from finishing filming my reading journal setup and wrap up, and Roberto ordered us sushi. What happened? I still don't remember anything about that day. I must have blocked it out for my own sanity. On the 25th, this page has literally nothing to do with anything that happened, but I had been talking to somebody that I work with about misophonia. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And it's basically, I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's like a condition characterized by extreme negative reactions to specific sounds. And some of those sounds are like chewing sounds, breathing, clicking pens, tapping feet, ringtones. And I very much, like 100% have this. I'm fully self-diagnosing it, but like the amount of internal rage I hear if anybody chews anything next to me is outrageous. I feel the urge to flee any and every situation where I hear somebody chewing. Certain pens really bother me. My husband's keyboard drives me insane. I cannot be in the same room with him as he's typing on his keyboard. So there's like a lot of things. And I was explaining this to somebody that I worked with because they were talking about how something bothered them. And I was like, oh, that's a thing. You know, that's a thing, right? So I decided to look it up and write down some information about it in case I ever wanted to reference back to it again. It says that there's no causes. It sometimes appears like simultaneously with like ADHD and other conditions like that. So it was just really interesting to write all of that down. And yeah, I really like it. I said, I have like some thoughts down here that says, due to my own personal experiences and sensitivities / reactions to sounds, there is no doubt in my mind that I have this. Very interesting. The 26th, again, June still sucks. I'm telling y'all, like, it was not my month. I have like a little kind of begging sentence right here that says, please, please, please let July be the best month. On Friday, I wrote oop, and I'm not sure why I wrote that. This day was okay, it looks like. I worked from home. My son asked if he could stay home with me while I worked. And then we had a Mario Kart night. So it was a decent day. On the 28th, I had a low sugar day. So this one wasn't like a drastic, like dangerous low sugar day. It was just more of my sugar kept dropping throughout the day. So fun stuff there. This is really pretty though. I really like the way this page looks. This was a journaling meetup that I went to on the 29th. Normally, if I go to journaling meetups, I spend almost the whole time, a large portion of the time really, using all of the random like odds and ends and supplies that are in the actual like meetup space. Like the store that I go to has like these big tables, and they just put a ton of like leftover supplies in the middle of the table. So I'll bring my Hobonichi, and I'll usually just, I mean, I've only gone twice, but the last 2 times I have just used supplies in the table to actually decorate the page. And then I'll come home and actually journal once I'm home. So this was June, and then this was the one that I had done for May, for the exact same journal meetup. And I did sign up to go to the one in July as well. So I'm really excited to see kind of what I put together for July. The last day of June, I did a prompt. And the reason I did this prompt, it was a Coffee Monsters co-prompt. It says, what do you want to bring into July and what do you want to leave behind in June? And I said, I need to leave all the bad vibes in June and only have good vibes and happy thoughts and good days in July. Bye-bye, bad juju. Because, again, terrible, terrible month. This, just flipping back through because I noticed all of this bleed through on the bottom of the page here. This is a new ink that I got. It's Andrellium Luna Green Moth. Luna Moth Green. I wrote it backwards on this page too. I don't know why I said that wrong. Let's see. It is so pretty. Like, look at that. I love it so much. I can't wait to put that in a pen. I still haven't swatched it out in my actual ink journal yet, or my ink swatch book yet. So that will probably be in my next journaling vlog, most likely, because I've got a couple of inks now that I need to swatch out in there as well. But that's it. That's the last bit that I have for the month of June. I would love to know how your month went for June, because mine clearly wasn't the greatest. I spent a lot of the month documenting how much the month sucked, but I think when I look back on that, I'll probably end up just giggling at some of the things that were happening, or just reminiscing on it. I don't even know. I don't know if I'm gonna like having that in there or not, but I figured it would be good to document it, you know, whatever. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!